October 31st, 2025. Donald Trump is on Air Force One watching Fox News. A segment about violence against Christians in Nigeria plays on screen. Within 1 hour, the President of the United States threatens to invade Africa's most populous nation. The world expected outrage, diplomatic crisis, national unity against foreign threats. Instead, something strange happened. Thousands of Nigerians agreed with him. Not about religion, not about persecution, but about one thing Trump accidentally exposed: the billion-dollar corruption machine that's been draining Nigeria's wealth for decades, while the world looked away. This is the story of a nation sitting on $700 billion in mineral wealth, where 47% of the population survives on less than $2.15 a day. Where oil thieves stole $300 billion in a decade, where 6-year-olds mine lithium for Chinese companies, where gold worth billions gets smuggled to Dubai while farmers get massacred, and how one foreign leader's threat, however reckless, finally forced a conversation Nigeria's elite had been avoiding for years. Nigeria is blessed. That's not opinion, that's geology. Oil reserves estimated at 37.5 billion barrels. Natural gas reserves at 209 trillion cubic feet. Gold deposits that rivals claim exceed South Africa's richest regions. Lithium fields positioning Nigeria as Africa's new energy hub. Total commercially viable minerals? An estimated $700 billion. Yet here's the twist that breaks every economic model. 47% of Nigerians, roughly 109 million people, live below the international poverty line of $2.15 per day in 2024. In rural areas, that number jumps to 75.5%. Ultra poverty, where families can't afford basic calories even if they spend everything on food, affects 70 million people. Mind you, this isn't a developing nation struggling to find resources. This is a resource-rich nation where wealth evaporates before it reaches the people who need it. Nigeria lost an estimated $300 billion in crude oil revenue alone between 2015 and 2025. Not from market crashes, not from price collapses, from theft. Oil heist. Let's talk about what actually happens in the Niger Delta. The Niger Delta produces roughly 80% of Nigeria's crude oil. It's the economic backbone of a country that depends on oil for 70% of government revenue and 95% of export income. In Q1 of 2022, Nigeria was losing 108,000 barrels per day to oil theft. Not accidents. Organized theft involving security forces, militant groups, oil company employees, and international buyers. The methods are famous: hot tapping, cutting into active pipelines while oil flows; cold tapping, breaching inactive pipes. Both require technical expertise, corporate insiders, and military protection. Nigeria is losing more barrels of crude oil than some OPEC members produce. Think about that. The theft operation is larger than entire national oil industries. But what nobody wants to say out loud is that people stealing aren't just militants in the creeks. They're in government offices, they have offshore accounts and shell companies structured to make tracking impossible. Gold wars. While the world focused on oil, another heist was happening in Nigeria's northwest. Between 2012 and 2018, approximately 97 tons of gold, worth over $3 billion, was illegally smuggled out of Nigeria. Zamfara State sits on what experts claim is more than 40% of Nigeria's gold deposits. It should be wealthy. Instead, it's a war zone. Since 2014, over 5,000 people have been killed in Zamfara alone. Armed bandits control mining territories. Local populations get displaced. Illegal refineries pop up overnight. And behind it all is a network: politically connected Nigerians and Chinese nationals. In April 2020, 2 Chinese nationals were arrested in Bukuyum local government for illegal mining. Political godfathers pressured the government to release them. In 2023, the Times of London revealed Chinese nationals were paying terrorist groups rent to access mining sites. The gold doesn't stay in Nigeria. It gets smuggled through Niger and Togo to Dubai. When governors of Katsina, Niger, and Zamfara led negotiations with illegal mining sponsors, they negotiated under conditions set by the sponsors themselves. That's how deep the protection runs. Lithium rush. Nasarawa State is where Nigeria's corruption becomes impossible to ignore. November 5th, 2024, the Associated Press travels to Bazali near Abuja. There, they document something that should horrify anyone paying attention. 6-year-old Juliet Samanaya, dressed in a faded pink dress, chips at white rocks with a stone tool, hour after hour, for less than $2.42 per day. She should be in school, but she's mining lithium, the critical mineral powering the world's transition to clean energy. The landscape around her: active and abandoned mine shafts, farmland cleared for ore, other children doing the same work. Lithium merchant Aliyu Ibrahim openly told the Associated Press he owns unlicensed mines, buys from illegal sites, and pays officials to look away. He knows children work his mines. He admits it. His business flourishes regardless. The Associated Press witnessed a Chinese company, RSIN Nigerian Limited, negotiating to purchase lithium with zero questions about sourcing or mining methods. RSIN didn't respond to requests for comment. The Chinese embassy in Abuja issued a statement that Chinese mining companies operate in line with local laws and regulations. But here's the reality on the ground. In May 2024, a 3-day operation in Kishi, Oyo State arrested 32 individuals, including 2 Chinese nationals. Tons of lithium seized. In April 2024, 4 Chinese nationals were arrested in Karu, Nasarawa State. On April 22, 2024, a federal court in Ilorin convicted 2 Chinese nationals for illegal mining. The pattern is clear. The enforcement is sporadic. The system enabling it remains intact. And while 6-year-olds mine lithium for Chinese buyers, the Nigerian government loses billions. That lithium ends up in batteries shipped worldwide, including back to Nigeria, where citizens pay premium prices for the same resources stolen from their soil. Now comes the Trump connection. Friday, October 31st, 2025. Trump was aboard Air Force One heading to Florida, watching Fox News. A segment about Christians being killed in Nigeria flashed across the screen. He was immediately angered. Before the plane even touched down in West Palm Beach, he was posting on Truth Social. Christianity is facing an existential threat in Nigeria. Thousands of Christians are being killed. By Saturday, situation escalated. If the Nigerian government continues to allow the killing of Christians, the USA will immediately stop all aid and assistance to Nigeria and may very well go into that now disgraced country, guns a-blazing, to completely wipe out the terrorists who are committing these horrible atrocities, Trump wrote. This wasn't a diplomatic cable. This was a war declaration broadcast live on social media. And the entire thing started because Trump saw one cable news segment. But wait, this gets interesting. The Nigerian response wasn't unified outrage. Unexpected reactions. Mary, a widow from Guma local government in Benue State, told reporters she felt seen for the first time. Her husband was killed in a night raid. On social media, thousands of Nigerians posted variations of the same uncomfortable truth. Trump is wrong about the religious genocide claim, but he's accidentally right about something else. What they meant was the corruption. The uncomfortable question Nigerians started asking: does it take foreign pressure to force accountability when domestic pressure gets ignored? The Nigerian government's defensive tone couldn't hide what many citizens already knew. Corruption had become so normalized that even a reckless foreign threat couldn't be dismissed outright. Nigeria's elite had systematically looted their own country for decades. American angle. Let's be direct about something nobody wants to say. Trump's threat wasn't purely humanitarian. As we've seen today, Nigeria has strategic value. Oil, gas, lithium. A population of 230 million. $13 billion in U.S.-Nigeria trade in 2024. If America intervenes, is it to protect Christians, stabilize a strategic partner, or secure access to critical minerals? Probably all three. And that complexity makes the situation messier. Nigeria needs help addressing terrorism, but unilateral U.S. military action without Nigerian consent would violate sovereignty and likely worsen instability. The Pentagon knows this. Precision drone strikes were reportedly discussed as options, but any operation would face massive logistical challenges. Vast terrain, porous borders, no clear targets, limited U.S. footprint after withdrawing from Niger. Real tragedy. Let's be honest now. Nigeria didn't need Trump to expose its corruption problem. Nigerians know. They know every time they see children mining lithium instead of attending school. They know every time oil theft drives up fuel prices. They know every time government officials live in luxury while rural poverty hits 75.5%. They know because they're living it. The World Bank projects Nigeria's poverty rate could hit 52% by 2026 if conditions don't improve. Food inflation remains over 20% despite headline inflation easing. Staple food prices increased fivefold between 2020 and 2024. And all of this happens in a country with $700 billion in mineral wealth. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed. For those who designed it. Nigeria has seen reform promises before, anti-corruption drives that fizzled, investigations that disappeared, scandals that led nowhere. The pattern repeats: exposure, outrage, promises, silence. What's different this time? International attention, maybe? The embarrassment of foreign threats exposing internal failures. Or maybe nothing's different at all. The question facing Nigeria isn't whether corruption exists. Everyone knows it does. The question is whether the political will exists to dismantle systems that benefit those in power. Can you prosecute oil thieves when they have connections to security forces? Can you shut down illegal mines when sponsors are politically protected? Can you freeze elite assets when the elite write the laws? These aren't rhetorical questions. They're the actual barriers to change. And until those barriers fall, Nigeria's resource curse continues. $700 billion in potential wealth, 109 million people in poverty, 6-year-olds mining lithium, armed bandits controlling gold fields, $300 billion stolen from oil revenues. This is the cost of corruption that the world ignores. Until a foreign leader threatens invasion and accidentally forces everyone to look. What's your take on this? Should Nigeria accept international help to fight corruption, even if it means admitting domestic accountability failed? Drop your thoughts below, and if you want to see more of the world's richest icons and luxury stories, subscribe right now, because this is where the legends live forever.